last couple of weeks, last semester, and then on Monday, and add these techniques when they're needed, or use some of your Swedish techniques and add these when you need it.
So with effleurage, I mean, you all know what effleurage is, all right? So what can we use for effleurage? What little tools can we use for effleurage? Thumbs? All right, so if we think about legs, do you think the thumbs are very effective on legs if we're going to do it for effleurage? Because what's effleurage here?
Yeah. Palm. Fingers.
Palm fingers.
I'm not tapping my face then.
No.
So to me that's just way too long. So yeah, palms, we can do palms. Thing is too, when you're doing it, always feel. So use your fingers to feel. Like I can tell you straight away, tight here, just by feeling it, yeah? Can we use the heel of our hand? Sure can. So we can use the heel of our hand. What else?
Just use your forearm.
We can use forearm, we can use knuckles. Yeah. Watch with forearm on the size of the person's leg. So if you've got someone who's got a real skinny leg, forearm probably not, but sure you can, okay? So you can use your forearm. So if I'm going to work on the side of Trent's leg here, I'm going to roll his leg a little bit, gives me more open, and I can get to his peroneals, yep, and I can use forearm, okay? Now when you, how's that feel, Trent? Now, when you're doing your techniques with your forearm, see that I haven't raised the bed up, be careful that you don't lean over like this to do it. Just drop your body down. That's the whole point of this, is to still try to keep that really nice posture. And I can move his leg around in that way, yeah? Now, I don't really want to be working this way, because it doesn't really feel so great. Okay, and yes, I can come up and I can work here. And then I can look up and into the glute. Okay? So, enough techniques of that? Yeah? Okay, now with our petrissage and our kneading, so normally when you're doing kneading, you're just going to be doing this type of kneading, can't we? Alright? We can then add into it things like lifting, and we can do things like skin rolling. Alright? So, skin rolling. So I can roll the skin. We call it spider crawl. Okay.
That's not on the list here.
It's called petrissage and it says rolling. See? See the second one?
Metabolites. Oh, lifting, rolling.
Yeah. Okay. So then I can. Now it's hard to lift his skin here because it is hard here. It's really easy to lift skin on the back. I can lift his skin up and pull at it, which is really nice. But I can actually lift and I can. What was that?
It's not like that, it's
I know. And I can lift up the skin, okay, and I can just loosen it a little bit here, okay, yeah, works nicely, yeah.
How do you get right deep into the calves with the forearm?
Just go through the techniques and you'll...
You go through the techniques and I'll show you, yeah. And we can ring the muscles, so we can ring the muscles this way, alright. Not so great when guys have got hairy legs, but it still does work, or you can work this way, so you're just using more the palms of the hands. Alrighty? Okay, compression broadening. Now this is really good if you've got some tight bits in the muscle where the fascia is caught up, okay? And all you do is compress down, and then we're going to broaden the muscle.
We'll do this on the arm the other day, didn't we?
Pardon?
We did that on the arm.
Yep, we did. We did some on the arm. And we can add that technique in then with some active movement from him, which we will do at the end of it. And I'll show you how that works. And it's a really nice technique if they've got some really tight muscles. Nice after a game of something, because what you're doing is you're actually trying to actually then make the fibres pull apart a little bit so they're not too congested. Okay. Frictions. How do we do frictions? So frictions can be little frictions. Now let's go see if we can find somewhere where it's a bit tight here. Alright, so I can friction through this way. Okay. I can friction through this way, so I can use my thumbs. Yep. Okay. I can do some circular frictions just with my thumb. Okay. I can do frictions going this way. Yep. How else can I do frictions?
Straight cross lines.
Okay. So if we know which way the fibre runs, we can go across the fibre. Bit hard on here, so you can just do this. And then I can hold the leg a little bit better if I've actually got the leg elevated here. Yep. Normally put a hand towel underneath you. Alright, and then there's some bit of friction. I can just do a little bit of friction this way. Okay.
Very nasty spot.
It is a nasty spot, isn't it? And doing that, then I can come in and do a trigger point on that. And if you flick over your page at the top, I think of that page there, it's going to talk about static work. Is that right?
Yeah, static compression.
Yeah. So this is a static compression, which then can be called a trigger point. And I can wait for that then to release. Okay. So you don't have to follow these with each other. Okay. There we go. Okay. So then we've got transverse gliding, which is a bit like
You just said there we go, explain that to
Like release.
oh, release. Sorry.
How would you know if it's released or not?
You feel it.
You can actually feel it release. It'll actually give. So they'll either tell you until you get used to the feel of it. Some are really easy to feel.
Yeah.
Others are very subtle. So I always think it's kind of like it sits like this. Put your thumb in the middle of it, and then it just opens up and lets your thumb sink into the tissue. Okay, the tissue's all
I
bound
had
up.
the best manipulator like on Dad's neck. And I just held it, and next minute it was just like it disappeared.
It does. It just dissipates.
I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, it dissipates. Then all of a sudden they go, oh gee, that feels heaps better. Okay, now transverse gliding as opposed to compression broadening, you don't compress the tissue. So if I want to glide, so I'm going to go 90 degrees to the muscle, hamstring muscles go here, this direction, so the fibres go this direction. If I want to just glide over them, I'll just glide across them this way, okay? So I'm not actually compressing and then broadening it, I'm actually just gliding over the muscle. Nice way to use the heel of your hand actually on here. Remember that when you're working on the legs too, that you've got to always work out which way you're going to change your hands to work if you want to work medial. I actually might show a little bit of sidelining of that too, Trent. Okay. Now we're going to do some longitudinal stripping. Now, if you have a look on that second page, you've got passive and active movement as well. If you have a look, I think it's the second last and the third last ones. Yep. So what I'm going to do is when I'm doing this stripping now, I'll show you the technique and then I'll show you how we add in the two lots of movement. Because at the end of the day, you guys want to save yourself. Okay, you want to save your fingers and your joints. Okay, so you get the person to do it. So you need to be able to move. So I need to be able to get him to move his foot. Now, ideally, that's actually not going to give me enough movement. So what I'm going to do is, Trent, I'm just going to lift your feet up. And I'm going to get you now to slide down the bed so your feet are over the edge of the bed. So I'm going to... Remember, if we're looking at this in a sporting context, you don't have to have the person with the head down the hole all the time. All right, so we can have his head up a little bit, so you just have it resting on his... yeah, either like that or he can have his chin resting on his hands, whichever way is comfortable. Obviously, if I'm working up here, I don't want him in this position, but it's easier if I can get his leg to actually do the movement here with no restriction. All right, so if I'm going to come up through gastroc and do some nice lengthening strokes, so deep stripping movements will go. Now, I'm sitting here, this is the Achilles tendon through here, so I'm going to just sit low because this is the soleus here, this is gastroc here. So I'm going to sit through here, and first of all, I'm just going to put this stripping through the middle. What you tend to do is you actually curve your fingers in a little bit so they face each other a little bit. And I'm just going to go straight through the middle of that. How's that feel?
Yeah, not too bad in the middle.
Now, to get extra length out of that, I can either do the movement, so I'm going to make it a passive move. Alright, so I'm just going to do this. See, my foot, my leg now is actually just leaning against his foot, and I can move his foot for me. Okay, so I'm going to go. As I strip, I'm going to lengthen. Let go. Lengthen. Let go. And lengthen. Let go. And lengthen. Alright. Now I can. What was that?
The next one's going to suck.
Okay. Now I'm going to get him to do the movement. So he's just going to move his ankle, dorsiplantar flexion, and as he goes, okay, as he goes into extension, which is actually flexion, which is dorsiflexion, but I'm just going to make the movement go. And him doing that actually moves my hands along. I'm not doing anything. He's just moving along. He's moving my hand along, sorry. Yeah. And how's that feel, Trent?
Yeah.
Now,
Just what you don't have people that sit there and they stay at the ends of the range of motion.
Yeah, so you don't want to just stay like this and then stay like this. You just get them to move it and you have to just work with it. Now, to go on to that, if I want to then do the broadening, I have to broaden when he shortens. Okay? So if I want to now do that in his calf where he's shortening, I will do that. Okay? So see, I've just worked the opposite with the movement. Yeah, cool. What have we got else? We did static compression. Okay, compression approximation is good for cramping. So if you're working on someone and then they cramp, so sometimes when I get people, when they do this with their foot, they'll get to a point and they go, I've got a cramp. So just relax it. What you're going to do is, say the cramp is sitting here, put one hand above it, one hand below it, compress, and then you draw the tissue together. And what that does is just loosens the tissue off and lets the cramp run away.
How do you do that on the foot?
Pardon?
How do you do that on the foot? Yeah, because my sister-in-law gets that a lot on her foot.
It's along the arch, exactly how you did it to me earlier. You just grab the tissue just on either end of the arch and
Yeah.
push the arch together.
And then you push it together. So if you come around and have a look, just come around and have a look.